Preparing for flu season, the impact of breast cancer, and working to feed the hungry. These stories and more on this month's Real Talk, and it all starts right now. As the seasons change, thoughts turn towards football, hay rides, Thanksgiving, and the flu. Lauren Wilson reports on ways to protect yourself from the seasonal illness.
Ask anyone who has ever had it, and you'll hear that the flu can be one of the worst bouts of sickness you can ever experience. Chills, fever, body aches, and difficulty breathing, all of those symptoms and more are a part of having the flu. One of the worst things about it is it's really hard to fight because the flu isn't caused by just one virus.
The flu virus is a virus with a number of different strains. It's classified as influenza A, B, or C, and each of those have a number of strains in those categories.
David Day is a doctor of epidemiology with the Lincoln Trail Area Health Department.
It causes high fever, non-productive cough, sore throat, and sinus infections. It can cause gastrointestinal symptoms too, like vomiting and diarrhea. That is most often seen in young children.
According to Day, flu season in Kentucky is considered to be from October through April, but it can hit at any time.
Last year when I was working at Hardin Memorial, we did not have a summer without a flu patient.
Megan O'Daniel, health sciences instructor at the Hardin County Schools Early College and Career Center, says having the flu can be especially serious for the very young and the elderly.
In the state of Kentucky, during the last flu season, the 2016-2017 flu season, there were 3,064 confirmed cases in the state. In the Lincoln Trail District, there were 22 confirmed cases of flu, but under both of these circumstances, the actual number of cases would be much, much more than that.
As contagious as the virus is, there are certain ways you can protect yourself. Early College and Career Center's health sciences instructor, Donna Lynch, says people need to focus on being healthy.
The most important thing that people can do is wash their hands. We all have a tendency to touch our faces a lot. When we sneeze, when we cough, we involve our hands, and of course every surface is contaminated from one person to another.
Some people can have the flu and not have symptoms from it, but they still have the infection, they still have the virus, and they're still able to transmit it to other people. That's why it's pretty important for most everybody to be vaccinated.
Flu vaccinations are available at the Lincoln Trail Area Health Department. The cost is $40 for the regular shot or $60 for the high-risk vaccination. You can call 270-769-1601 to make an appointment. Health officials say the costs involved are fully covered by most insurance. Reporting from the Lincoln Trail District Health Department, I'm Lauren Wilson.
Everyone knows someone who's been touched by breast cancer. A mother, a sister, a wife, or friend. The disease can strike anyone. Reagan White reports on the importance of breast cancer awareness.
When you hear cancer, you hear awful things.
According to the National Cancer Institute, 1 in 8 women who live to be age 80 will develop breast cancer in her lifetime. In 2001, Kay Curl of LaRue County was one of those.
The lump was found through a routine mammogram. I always got mammograms yearly because breast cancer was in my family.
According to the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, having a family history of breast cancer, particularly a woman with a mother, sister, or daughter who has had or had breast cancer, may double the risk, but this isn't the only factor.
Obesity is a risk factor of breast cancer. Of course, a family history. Just being a woman and being older is a risk factor. Also, Not having any babies or either getting pregnant at a later age is a risk factor. Oral contraceptives can be a risk factor. Smoking.
Kathy Russ of LaRue County had no family history of the disease when she discovered she had cancer.
I rolled over in bed and I felt a slight lump, and then I thought for a few days that it would go away, and it didn't.
According to Melissa Decker, team lead clinic nurse at the Hardin County Health Center, women should be aware of the signs and symptoms.
Signs, symptoms of breast cancer can be any changes in the breast, any changes in the skin, any irritation or dimpling in the skin, any new lumps under the armpit or breast area, also any abnormal discharge from the nipple, or any pain at all, or just, any changes in general, just in the size or shape of it.
Breast cancer survivors will tell you that the most difficult part of having the disease occurs following the diagnosis.
My treatment involved a year of chemotherapy, which sometimes they allow you to work through when you do chemo, but I wasn't allowed to work, so I'm a workaholic, so that was really a challenge for me, not being able to work.
The hardest part of the fight was, of course, the chemo was the treatment on a Friday, start to feel better by Tuesday. Then 3 more weeks, go through the same routine. That lasted from February until November. And then in November, I had to have radiation. Yes, I did cry, and yes, I did not want to go through it again. Every day I would go to the hospital at 5 o'clock to have the radiation treatments.
The impact of a cancer diagnosis goes beyond the victim. Family members forced to watch the fight can feel helpless in light of the disease. Elizabethtown resident Melissa Trout says her sister-in-law Amber Pike was diagnosed with the disease in 2009.
First I was like, well, it's breast cancer, and she's detected it early, and and in my mind I'm going, this seems pretty simple. You almost don't think that it's real when you first hear it. Watching her struggle with the symptoms of the chemo mainly, and even the surgery was difficult for me. She and I are the same age.
Rineyville resident Dale Reeves found her life entirely changed after her sister, who was living in Kentucky, was diagnosed with the disease.
My sister was 3 years older than I was, and she was my mother's caregiver, and she lived with my mother, so I had to move down here from Virginia and help take care of my mother and my sister Jenny at the same time, of taking her to the doctor and seeing about my mother at the same time. From 2011 to 2017, my sister struggled with the breast cancer, and then just in the latter part of 2016, the cancer metastasized and went to different parts of her body. It went into her bones and into her lung area, finally into her liver, and she died from the cancer on August the 8th, 2017.
Although there is no known way to prevent breast cancer, there are known ways to help protect oneself.
Just trying to live a healthy lifestyle helps to prevent breast cancer. Also, breastfeed your babies. If you have a baby, that helps prevent breast cancer. Try to maintain a healthy weight, a healthy diet, and just try to take good care of yourself. Exercise at least 4 hours a week.
The increase in survival rates are directly tied to early diagnosis. Self-examinations, yearly checkups, and mammograms are the best methods to improve survival. Medical professionals recommend that self-checks are done on a monthly basis.
Just use the tips of your fingers, like the pads of your fingers, feel for any lumps, changes in the breast. But yeah, and then make sure and see a health care provider yearly starting at age 20 for self-breast exams. It is very important, and that's something that I do is I educate the patients on making sure to be compliant with their visits yearly. Because you want to catch breast cancer or any changes before it turns into breast cancer. So it's very important to do that. And mammograms can help as the number one thing to help try to prevent breast cancer in self-exams.
The average 5-year survival rate for people with breast cancer is 90%. The average 10-year survival rate is 83%.
I am in remission. I have been cancer-free since February of 2003. I learned after my last chemo treatment and all the testing, and when my doctor came in to give me the results and he said, "You are cancer-free," I was ecstatic.
I'm considered cancer-free. Like I said, I still visit my oncologist about once every 4 months. They run blood tests. It always makes me a little nervous when I go, but I feel great.
She got through all of her treatments and is now cancer-free. She's doing fine. Like you would never know that she ever even had cancer.
I worry about nothing. I made it through this. I worry about nothing. It's been a calming. I'm at peace with everything. Nothing upsets me. I just go through life and try to help others.
Well, I appreciate life a little bit more, for one thing for sure, and I do realize that life is a gift. I do work harder with American Cancer Society. I help sponsor the Survivor Dinner that we have every year in LaRue County. My biggest advice is to get your mammogram when you're supposed to. And if you're not satisfied, get an ultrasound. Stay on top of it.
Please do your exams. Don't be afraid. I know several people that I just don't want to know. They'll say, "I just don't want to know." No. Go and get an exam. Get your mammograms. Keep up with yourself.
The fight for hunger is a never-ending effort. However, local residents can make a difference. Tanner Drake reports on Feeding America in Hardin County.
49 million Americans go to bed hungry, not able to feed themselves or their families. Feeding America is the solution to the problem. It is a non-profit organization trying to feed those who are less fortunate. Amber Livers, the development director, says Feeding America provides food assistance to individuals and families.
Feeding America we're a food bank, which means really we're here to provide food assistance to individuals and families that need that for whatever reason. And we see any reason under the sun. It could be they're between jobs, it could be that they're disabled or retired, can't work, whatever the reason is, they're in a situation that they can't provide everything they need in terms of food on their own. So we're there through our organization and our partner agencies that we work with, food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, to provide that to them.
Stephen George, a volunteer of Feeding America, goes 3 times a week. He explains why people might enjoy volunteering and helping in their efforts.
It's a good place to come and volunteer. Also, meeting new people. If you have a couple, hours out of your day, maybe even just an hour, 30 minutes, whatnot. It's fun to kind of see what goes back into the community, especially helping people. So it's new. If you haven't done it, I think you would really enjoy it.
If you can't come to Feeding America, there are other ways you can help. Monica Ruling, the Marketing and Communications Director of Feeding America, says that you can donate money or have a canned food drive.
If for some reason that you can't volunteer between those hours, then we have lots of partner agencies out in our 42 counties that might need your help, and we can definitely get you in touch with them. Or if you'd rather have like a canned food drive or some kind of food donation drive, that would be great. Your club or your school or whoever can put together one of those real quick and easy. Or you can just donate your money, because that actually will help us more than anything. That $1 will buy 8 meals.
With all the support Feeding America is gaining, it's an endless battle. In fact, more than 46 million people still turn to the Feeding America network each year. To help out, go to your local food bank or feedingamerica.org. Reporting for Feeding America, I'm Tanner Drake.
Next up, we're featuring first-time productions for our Intro to Media Arts class. These packages include reports on a new ACT prep program and the family-friendly Ghost Walk.
The American College Test, or more commonly known as the ACT, is possibly the most important standardized test students will take in their high school careers. Depending on your score, it can change your future. If you plan on going to college, it can reduce prices and get you into better schools. Recently, Central Hardin High School picked up a new tool for preparing students who are taking the ACT. Aaron Howell, an assistant principal at Central, says that 2 years ago, the school decided to start using a new program called the TCA.
TCA is called Triumph College Admissions. It's an online computer program that prepares students for the ACT. The cool thing about it is there's 12 practice tests on the program, and all of them, once you enter them into the system, your answers, you get feedback instantaneously. Kids can know right away what their sub-scores are in English, science, reading, and math, and they get a composite score right away. The coolest thing about TCA is the report that comes with it, that breaks down the questions, that breaks down the critical skill areas that you need to work on in order to improve your score. So it's a really unique program.
Taylor Smith, a junior at Central, says the TCA has made him do things he wouldn't have thought of in order to prepare.
I can take multiple tests without having to go out to take them at like practice sessions.
Junior English teacher Betsy Hobbs says the program is wonderful and wouldn't change anything about it, but she would change the way Central uses it.
Maybe I would like to see us as a school pool students during Power Hour and give them opportunity to work on it in the library.
I'm Montana Hatfield reporting from EC3, signing off.
October is a time for scares and fun. It's also time for the annual Ghost Walk in downtown Elizabethtown. Claire Allen, director of the Hardin County Playhouse, says they decided to take over the event after another agency gave it up.
The Heritage Council had it, and they weren't able to put it on for a year, and they had so many people say, what about the Ghost Walk? So they came to us and said, you guys are actors, can you do this? And we were like, yeah, I think we can handle that.
Amelia Word, one of the storytellers of the Ghost Walk, says it's a family-friendly event.
I just saw my family and they were out on a little date night, so that's wonderful. And nothing too scary. We're not gonna, make your children stay up all night. No blood, guts, or gore.
Sophia Prater, a sophomore from Central Hardin High School, was attending the Ghost Walk for the third time.
I'm very much expecting to get scared, actually. What they do is tell you a story about what a past event that happened, and they'll immediately jump out and scare you or do something.
John Letson, a North Hardin senior, served as a guide for the Ghost Walk.
I want them to be spooked out, have a fun time, just enjoy themselves.
Storyteller Emily Kohler finds the event just as enjoyable.
My favorite part is the response you get from all the people. They're excited to be here. They're all enjoying this thing that we have just put together, and it's all around town, and it's just seeing all these people come out and actually participate. It's fantastic.
Teresa Krex attended the Ghost Walk and took special interest in some of the stories.
I understand that the Sci-Fi Channel was actually in Elizabethtown doing some tests on a couple of the buildings here in town. That's fascinating.
All in all, those attending the event say that the Ghost Walk was a great kickoff for the Halloween season. Reporting from the downtown Elizabethtown Ghost Walk, I'm Amy Loomis.
That's it for this month's Real Talk, and as always, I'm Taryn Glover.